Would I be the asshole for asking my mom if she lied, and I had an older brother who died? This is wild, and I know it sounds like some crappy 1950s mystery movie, but I've struggled with this for years. 23F. I have vague memories of a boy, and when I remember the memories, I'm overcome with a sense of love and loss. When I was younger, thinking about him would make me cry. When I was about 9, I found pictures of him and a family friend's son, Jay, for the first time and was excited because I thought he'd been an imaginary friend since everyone acted like they didn't know who I was talking about. My mom said that one was Jay, but the boy I remembered, she didn't know, so it must have been his friend. I was content with this since I hung out with Jay all the time before we moved, and figured I'd met him then. Years later, when I was in high school, we moved in with my granny because she got sick. She never let me see or touch her keys, and I figured it was because, as a kid, she was afraid of me losing them. One day though, her friend picked her up and she left her keys. There were those keychain kindergarten pictures you get from school photos, one of me, one of my little sister, and one of the boy. I was shocked, and when Granny got home, I asked her about it. She started sobbing but wouldn't talk for the rest of the night. The next day, she told me never to ask about him again. Shortly after, she asked for help sorting through stuff. I found a box full of baby boy toys, and clothes that would fit a 6 or 7-year-old. Granny yanked the box away and told me she didn't need my help anymore and locked herself in her room. When she was well enough for us to move back home, I was helping my mom sort through pictures and found a whole rubber-banded stack of photos of the boy from a few months old until 3rd grade. Mom got very quiet but said she must have gotten them from the Jay's mom by mistake. For years I've let it go, but recently I found more pictures that were mixed up in my baby book. They obviously got stuck and weren't meant to be there, but now I'm burning with curiosity. If I didn't have memories of him, I would say it's none of my business, but I remember this boy, and I know it can't be a cousin or a crazy young uncle since Granny had a hysterectomy after Mom. I think he either died in the fire that happened when I was 3 to 4, or he was born with a hereditary heart condition that almost killed my little sister. I don't want to bring up more pain, but I remember him, and for years I thought I imagined him. Don't I deserve an answer to my own memories? Or would I be the asshole for bringing up a potential death of my mom's child? Edit. Another reason I want to know is because I want to know if the hereditary heart condition did kill him and isn't as much of a fluke, as my parents said, because I want kids and to know their risk. My dad died 4 years ago and said he was sorry for everything, but wouldn't specify, and when I asked my mom, she gave me generic answers. My sister also has no memories of him because I think she was born 3 to 5 years after he died, so we can't compare. Edit 2. I didn't think about calling the county and asking for death records, but I now plan to. I also might use Ancestry.com or something similar for answers, despite my granny always getting angry when I've brought it up before. I'm also fine if this is all some kind of super weird misunderstanding and I don't have a brother, but my granny's reactions and her having that stuff is what makes me really think it's family and not some random friend of Jay's from my early childhood. You should ask. You're an adult and this is affecting you. Maybe your parents thought they were protecting you and thought you wouldn't remember, or maybe it's just painful and they chose not to talk about it. Either way, I think you're entitled to answers. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Yo, what? This is wild. If this is true and you had a brother who died, then maybe your mom and granny thought they were protecting you by keeping that loss from you. But as you got older and you start asking about him, they should have come clean and told you so you aren't confused and they should let you grieve. I don't know, if it's true, I kinda think your mom and grandma are the assholes. If it's true, I definitely don't think you would be the asshole for asking. There is too much weird stuff over too long a period of time. Also, side note, if you're going to lie for eternity about a dead child, maybe hide everything better and come up with a better story why you have that stuff. Otherwise it's bound to come up, so they're essentially setting themselves up to be asked. Please tell me you will update with what you find out? Wow. Not the asshole. Have you thought about checking death records from that year, where you lived, and for a boy with your last name? Not the asshole. While I cannot imagine the depth of pain this little boy's passing caused the adults in your family, if this is indeed what happened, keeping it from you and presumably your sister all of these years, that's not at all okay, especially as it seems clear they haven't done such a great job of keeping him under lock and key with the pictures. I'm sure you've thought of this, but if you haven't, it's very likely you'll be able to find his death information via your local county's records if you're in the U.S. You may want to see what's available online before you talk to any of your family. I hope you find your closure, however that looks for you. You're 23, what are you waiting before searching public records about this? Why should what your family wants you to do or not, like use Ancestry.com, matter? This is your history too. You have every right to know. Whatever trauma the adults in your family went through, they must deal with that in therapy. Trying to make you think you're crazy is inexcusable and there's a name for it: gaslighting. Edit. Typo. I skip trace as part of my job. Try Googling different combinations of your parents' names with and without the word obituary, your name, your grandparents' names, with and without the city. This may get you some leads. I fall down the rabbit hole on searches like these. No assholes here. Look, you do deserve to get answers, but don't be shocked if your family does not want to talk about it. Grief does not go away, there is no time frame for it. This is some crazy VC Andrews shit. Not the asshole, but seek answers elsewhere. Your family will obviously be no help. Turn to public records, DNA test kits, the internet. Keep us posted. Not the asshole, and please update us. This is so interesting and spooky. Have you seen your birth certificate? It should have lost the number of previous pregnancies and previous live births your mother had. I don't get the NAH. Everyone grieves in their own way, but they're robbing you of your ability to grieve. It's hard to call them when it comes to a response from loss of a child, but this type of thing can really cause an internal crisis to you if true. So not the asshole. Not the asshole. I'd go for public records. No idea how that works, but I've heard of people using that access to find out about family secrets. Expect there's a website that has how to. Not the asshole. You're perfectly entitled to look for answers up. No reasons needed. Please be careful, and prepared, though. As others have pointed out, your mom and grandma might actually be protecting you for what they see as a good reason. If you or your father accidentally killed a potential brother, it might hurt to learn the truth. Do you know what actually caused the fire? Not the asshole. Is it possible the pictures start at around 6 because older ones may have been lost in the fire and not cause he didn't appear until then? It could be he died, or that something happened that they're not proud of, such as giving him up for adoption? Not the asshole. You remember him and remember feelings of loss. It has obviously bothered you for years. I think you need to find out for your own sanity. Something like that would drive me crazy. I really want an update when you find out the truth. So your granny and your mom both have pictures of this boy and they expect you to believe it's a childhood friend's friend? I'm sorry, but how dumb do they think you are? It definitely sounds like it could be your sibling, but I'm struggling to think what they're gaining from keeping it a secret. It cannot be healthy for anyone to keep that inside and never speak of it. It will hurt them to talk about it, but it's ultimately hurting more at the moment. You deserve the truth, and your mom and granny deserve to grieve properly. Not the asshole. Please keep us updated. Not the asshole. What? Is this a Practice VC Andrews novel? I would normally say to let your mom tell you in her own time, but for the reasons you state, possible health concerns, you would not be the asshole for asking. Just ask carefully. You have no idea what happened. Better to go with someone else's suggestion and look into county death records. Oh, I beg of you, please update if you can when this is solved. Not the asshole. You deserve to know. It's cruel for them to deny you your potential brother. Not the asshole. You deserve to know, if this was your brother. It's not fair to you to keep that information from you, especially, since it seems pretty clear now. Yes, it will bring up pain, but that's it, because they clearly never dealt with it and have tried to just shove it down and ignore it, and it constantly is gnawing. You're walking on a potential minefield. If it is a brother, your mother still hasn't coped with your brother's death property. She probably had your father and grandmother, other family members, hide it so that it doesn't ruin you and your sister, with thoughts of what could have been, I suppose. Your mom needs therapy. I think you all need to go to a few family therapy sessions. To tell you someone you remember clear as day never existed is gaslighting. Grief aside, that's wrong. It makes you question reality. This isn't a private matter. This is a human you have memories of. Get your answers, but considering the lack of answers all these years in, you're better off getting your answers at a therapy session. Not the asshole. Sorry to go all conspiracy theory, but it sounds like something's being covered up. Hope it wasn't something more malignant than a fire. Not the asshole. I have lost a child. I know it is hard. My kids were born after that loss, but still know of their sister. It doesn't feel right for them to not know. She was here. She was and is a part of the family. I understand it must be very hard for your parents, but you deserve to know. You can look up records online. Best of luck. I'm concerned you'll uncover something disturbing that could impact your current family relationships. Certainly it will cause a lot of pain, at least for your mom and grandma, if not for yourself. However, you deserve to know, and your curiosity level doesn't make this an easy thing to drop. Wow. No assholes here. You should ask. And then update us. This is crazy. Not the asshole. If you think he may have died in the fire when you were 3 or 4, you think then he was maybe about 2 years older? I think you would have had a lot more memories. I'm wondering if he was a child of perhaps an affair of either your mother or father, and they were brief times he was around, but then what if he got taken away by the other parent permanently? I'm guessing it might have the child of the grandmother who kept items and things of that nature. She would have maybe felt a bit more of an attachment as to whether it was your mom or dad. Just another theory. I'm catching up on this post. Please do update us. This is very interesting and I'm sure very emotional for you, but let your mom know it has just been nagging you all these years. She should tell you. It certainly sounds like you may be correct. Aside from county records, you could check newspaper archives for an article about the fire. There are some websites for newspapers used for genealogy, and they do have more recent ones. Or you could call the paper to see how to do this, or check with the genealogy department at your local library to see how to find the article. It sounds like it is very traumatic to your family. Do keep this in mind if you decide to speak to them about it. My sympathies to you all. Not the asshole. Am I the only one that thinks they may be trying to protect Op from some tragic traumatic event that Op doesn't remember? I only mention this since I know someone who accidentally killed their sibling as a child and it destroyed them. Nah, try to find a way to find out without asking them. Perhaps you can ask Jay. Not the asshole. I don't need sleep, I need answers. Not the asshole. I get that this is painful, but if he was your brother, he was special. He was loved. And he deserves to be remembered. If your mom refuses to give you an answer, you could tell her that you plan to contact the birth and death registry authorities to find out from them, and it would likely be better if she tells you the truth. How do I put a remind me on this for an update? Remind me. 1 week. Edited for reminder. Not the asshole. I'm of the belief you're never an asshole for asking a question. You deserve to know. Hopefully what you edited to add about death certificates or an ancestry website helps you find out. Nah, but I think you need to realize that wanting the truth, or being unwilling to accept the explanations you've already been given, does not mean you're going to get an answer, and that you will cause further pain if you continue to push. Your call whether it's worth giving it one last try anyway, but if I were you, I'd be lining up a therapist to talk through your feelings around this issue no matter what. For people who wanted to keep this secret, they sure were terrible at _keeping secrets _. How hard would it have been to put everything in a box? But no, they've got stacks of photos and boxes of toys and freaking keychains. This whole situation is like straight out of Pretty Little Liars. Not the asshole. One possibility, it was a boy they fostered and grew attached to, but then had to say goodbye? Maybe it didn't end well for him and they have guilt for letting him go? Maybe your mom had an affair and he's your half-sibling, and your dad made your mom put him up for adoption or they would divorce. And that's why he's sorry? Have you tried looking through old news articles? If he did die in a fire, that would have almost certainly made local news coverage. I'd be happy to help. I have a newspapers.com account if you want to DM me any details. NTA. And you by all means have every right to dig into this. Also, dig public records first. Then confront family, but don't tell them you've been digging into it. If you go straight to confronting them, and they do fess up that you had a brother, there's no reason they still wouldn't lie about some things. If they lie about things you've already uncovered, call them on it and tell them they can either be honest or you'll never trust or respect them again. In the end you're gonna need both the public record and the private knowledge. Public record will only tell so much. But make sure you have as much of that info first. That way you know if they're still jerking you around. Good luck. And I'm hoping you update as things happen. Dude, I never knew more than half my family. Please, you've got a choice to at least know about him. Don't make the wrong choice. Don't be pressured, but be sure with what you're doing. Not the asshole. I just want to say please post an update. This is fascinating. I went through a similar thing. Growing up I was the eldest, but just had a feeling that I had an older sibling. I can't explain it, I had no clear memories, but just this weird feeling that was always there that I wasn't the oldest, and something, or someone, was missing. Found out when I was 15 that I had an older stepbrother and sister from my dad's previous marriage, which I didn't know about, who we hung out with a lot when I was younger. Something happened, and my family cut all contact and I never saw them again. I found out through looking at old pictures and my family admitted it. So please, if you do find anything, I would love to hear it. Not the asshole. Things like this are popping up everywhere. I am definitely invested in finding out too, especially because remembering something or someone that everyone else ignores is definitely hard to deal with. I hope whatever you find out you are able to deal with in a healthy way. Not the asshole. You're affected by it too, so it is your business. Would love an update. If you know where the house was, you can probably also search newspaper articles if you think he actually died on the fire. If you know the location, approximate death date, year, and last name, you can do pretty decent digging with Google and/or Ancestry.com. OMG. Please update when you find out the truth. Not the asshole. This is freaky. Clearly your family is hiding something. Please keep us updated. Not the asshole. What happens when you Google the fire, year and city it happened? Not the asshole, but this could be a simple Google search. Records from the last 20 years should be online. They are for my itty-bitty town. You might be able to find an article about the fire. Or search for obituaries with your parents' names since parents are listed in obituaries. Good luck finding answers.